Welcome back. I am here with my new to me turbo normalized Mooney M20F. I purchased this 6 months ago and the performance has been better than I expected. Let's get into everything that I encountered as I went through the plane. Immediately upon getting it home, I went through it with my A&P, who is a Mooney mechanic. He did work in the Mooney factory, so when he takes this apart, he can see things that I can't. The first thing that we saw was that the oil cooler was cracked. The previous mechanic had installed a laser oil cooler relocation kit and it was contacting the frame, and if I had continued flying the airplane, it is very likely that this plane would have been totaled. I would have ended up in a field somewhere. I made the broker pay for that because they are required to deliver an airworthy airplane. It's an easy request. You just send them the bill and they send you the money. And so they paid for that. Then I flew it for about 100 hours and let the different problems accumulate. One problem that I had was the landing light went out. The connection just had some corrosion on it. The other problem that I had, which was the most expensive, was the turn coordinator. The original turn coordinator failed, and it was the original Britain turn coordinator, so I did not want to keep that in the plane. I pulled that out and I replaced it with the standard mid-continent turn coordinator. That saved a couple pounds. The operation of the aircraft is interesting. It is a manual wastegate, and you cannot find any instructors out here who know how to fly with that setup. So generally when I bring an instructor along, we don't touch the turbocharger, but I will share with you the operation of the turbocharger in this video. You're not supposed to boost this engine to sea level pressure. The maximum continued operation is 27 inches of pressure at 2,500 RPM. So you will wear out the engine if you're not paying attention. Of course, we do have a very nice engine monitor in here, and so you would see some red flags on that if you were to boost the engine up that high. And so we won't do that. We will take it out today and show you how to operate it. So my favorite thing about flying this airplane is that it does have a 4-cylinder Lycoming in it. So it has the IO360A1A with the RayJ turbo normalizer. So that means I can get incredible fuel efficiency when I don't need the full performance. But when I'm at high density altitude airports with a fully loaded airplane, like when I went to Telluride and the density altitude was 11,000 feet, I could take off with full fuel and full luggage and a full airplane with no problem. Turbocharged piston singles are fantastic if you live on the West Coast. If you're in an area with more flat terrain, you don't really need it, but here it is critical. There's really no drawbacks. The support from RayJ is still there. I called the guy up and he answered and he gave me what I needed. I can buy parts for it. There is a manufacturer who does the wastegate and the exhaust. The IO360A1A is the factory engine, so it still has the high compression pistons, which means that for local flights, I just use the naturally aspirated power, and it is more than sufficient. The only real negative of this airplane was going from my training airplane, which was a Cherokee 140, to the complex retractable gear, and that was expensive. The insurance was $7,000 for this airplane. But I called the insurance underwriter and he said if I got to 50 hours and I canceled my policy and then opened a new policy, I would save about 50%. So I did that. I flew the plane for 50 hours, I canceled the policy, and then I got the same exact policy for $3,500 for the year. So that's the trick with these planes, and let's go fly it. Let's start the plane. All right, so master switch is gonna be turned on. I checked the fuel. I have full fuel, so it will show up on the JPI here. Fuel pressure clear.
Altimeter 3015. Remarks: density altitude
Test.
1,500.
All right, so the oil temperature is getting up there in the green. I'm going to start taxiing over to runway 7. The turn coordinator is working now, as you can see, so that's good. We're going to go ahead and do our run up here. Oil is in the green, which is good. Flight control is free and correct. We're on the fullest tank. We will switch before we take off. We'll go to left. We're on right right now. Left mag, right mag. Okay, they're within 50 of each other. Then I'll go back to both. Cycle the prop. Good. I'll lean it out until we take off. Okay, so trim is on takeoff. Flaps are on takeoff. We need to close the windows. Make sure our seat belts are good. Ground traffic, Mooney 86 November, taking runway 7 for a right downwind departure.
Current traffic, Sky 5276 miles on the upwind, followed by close traffic 7.
Alright, so full rich, fuel pump on. We're going to ease into the throttle here. I'm looking at my engine monitor because I was having issues with that. My turn coordinator is working. Airspeed is alive. We're coming up to rotation speed at 70 here. I'm going to want to pull off, hand on the throttle. I'm going to do the gear. I'm going to do the flaps. Alright, so we cleaned the cylinder number 2 injector, and now you can see that the EGT on cylinder number 1 is peaking before it. But it looks like my EGTs are more even, which is what we were going for. The CHT is still hotter on cylinder number 2. Chrono traffic, Mooney 86 November, departing to the west. Last call. I'm going to go over the mountains. I'm going to climb up to
November 8, Papa Hotel, Region 1
6500 just to show you what the turbocharger is like. As we run out of manifold pressure here, we're going to have to dial in the turbos. Alright, so this is in. We're climbing out. We're going to want to go full rich with the turbo, and we're going up at 400 feet per minute right now. So there you go, we have 26.3, it just shot up right there, and that's why we don't push it in. The maximum I can do is 27 inches and 2,500 RPM. You'll sort of see it bounce around there. Gotta let it find itself, and then we'll incrementally adjust it because we don't want to overboost the engine. As you can see, as we climb up, the manifold pressure starts dropping off, so then we start dialing it in a little bit more. We want to maintain 27 inches, 2,500 RPM. Alrighty, and it's getting pretty bumpy up here. You can see the autopilot is very active. There is a turbulence warning. That's the orange here on the phone screen. Alright, so below 125 I can put the flaps in. So we're going to start getting those in. So that will really slow the plane down. So we're at 120, there we go. See the nose start to pitch down when I put the flaps in. Slow enough for the gear speed. Alright, the horn goes away, okay. Alright, so pattern altitude is 1,500 feet, I'm way too high. But we have the gear down, which acts as an air brake. We have the flaps full, again, air brake. So we'll get down there. That's what I love about this plane. Alrighty, we are coming in. I'm almost at pattern altitude, not quite, but it was a little bit wild getting down there. I just wanted to avoid the turbulence over the mountains. So, here we are. Let's do the checklist again. Gear down, boost pump on, cow flaps open, prop and mixture, full forward. Trim. I want to trim up a little bit more. We'll try to cut the power and see if we can sync here. My guess is no. I can try to slip it a little bit.
Current traffic radio check?
Yeah, that worked. Okay. Alright, a little bit of wind here.
You guys know where is Steve Hanger, the AM guy?
I'll be on the rudders. Alright, rudders. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Everything is working perfectly. The EGT fix, the new turn coordinator. The plane is ready to go. So I'm ready to get my instrument rating. And that was a really rusty flight. I haven't flown in a month, and flying with winds and a little bit of turbulence was not the best way to get back into it. I probably could have waited for a better day there, but there you are. That is all I have for you on the Mooney 86 November Ray J Turbo Normalized M20F. Thank you for watching, and make sure that you enjoy your airplane.